Midnight to 0:35. The hook and the AirTag in the warehouse right now, inside an unmarked industrial warehouse in Las Vegas, Nevada. High-powered hydraulic guillotine blades are slicing the spines off thousands of physical books every single hour. Rare first editions, out-of-print historical monographs, and specialized scientific texts are having their bindings decapitated in seconds. Their loose pages fed into high-speed document scanners, and their physical remains dumped into industrial recycling pulpers. This is not a dystopian fiction. This is the confirmed reality of how the world's leading artificial intelligence companies are training frontier models. 0:35 to 1:10. The high-stakes upfront roadmap before this video ends. You're going to see the verified investigative evidence tracking physical books directly to secret tech warehouses, unsealed federal court records, exposing clandestine operations to destructively scan all the books in the world. The terrifying mathematical paradox in a landmark nature study that forced AI labs into this desperate physical hunt, and the bizarre legal loophole in U.S. copyright law that makes destroying physical history 100% legal, while downloading a digital file costs $1.5 billion. If you think the AI race is purely digital, what you're about to see will completely change how you view modern technology. 110 to 240 ACT1. The AirTag sting and Amazon's VGT3 facility. The breakthrough evidence started with an investigative sting operation conducted by tech publication 404 Media. Journalists purchased rare and out-of-print physical books from independent sellers on Biblio, secretly concealed Apple AirTags inside the book covers, and tracked their physical journey across the United States. The tracking beacon didn't lead to a university library or a preservation archive. It led straight to Amazon's VGT3 logistics facility in North Las Vegas. Inside this facility, warehouse workers confirmed that their full-time job is not fulfilling customer orders, but systematically slicing the spines off physical books using heavy industrial paper guillotines, feeding stacks of loose pages into automated sheet scanners, and immediately discarding the shredded remnants into dumpsters. In fact, the internal team patch for this operation at Amazon VGT3 literally depicts a cartoon dinosaur tearing a physical book in half with its teeth. Shortly after this investigation went live, book metadata company ISBN-DB was exposed running a covert pitch page to AI labs titled Printed Books Sourcing for Your AI LLM's Dataset Needs, specifically offering pre-2022 physical volumes and admitting in their own pitch that, quote, AI company destroys 2 million books is not a headline that generates public sympathy. 240 to 415 ACT2. Anthropic's Project Panama exposed Amazon is not alone in this industrial purge. Unsealed federal court filings from the class action lawsuit Bart's versus Anthropic revealed that Anthropic, the creator of the Claude frontier models, launched a secret multi-million-dollar program codenamed Project Panama. To run Project Panama, Anthropic hired Tom Turvey, the former director of partnerships for Google Books. Internal communications unsealed in the Southern District of New York and California federal courts revealed that Project Panama's explicit operational mandate was, quote, to destructively scan all the books in the world. Anthropic spent millions of dollars buying up hundreds of thousands of physical books from secondary markets, liquidators, and bulk wholesalers, transporting them to dedicated scanning centers where the spines were cut off and converted into raw text tokens. When questioned, AI labs defended these programs by claiming that non-destructive digitization was far too slow to keep pace with the exponential scaling laws of modern neural networks. 415 to 545 ACT3. The brutal hardware arithmetic, destructive versus robotic. To understand why tech giants choose to destroy physical books, you have to look at the brutal mechanical engineering and cost arithmetic of digitization. For decades, nonprofit institutions like the Internet Archive, university libraries, and robotic manufacturers like Curtiss and Triventus utilized non-destructive robotic scanners. These machines place a bound book in an angled V-cradle, using delicate robotic vacuum arms and compressed air jets to gently turn pages one by one under dual overhead cameras. However, robotic page turners cost between $100,000 and $250,000 per machine. They jam frequently, averaging a 4% page misfeed rate on aged paper, and top out at a maximum throughput of just 1,200 to 1,500 pages per hour. Now compare that to the industrial destructive scanning pipeline. A heavy-duty hydraulic paper cutter, like a Polar or Challenge guillotine, costs less than $5,000 and slices cleanly through the spine of a 500-page book in under 2 seconds. The resulting loose-leaf paper stack is dropped into commercial dual-sensor automated document feeders from Kodak or Fujitsu, which scan both sides of every page simultaneously at over 300 pages per minute, reaching 18,000 to 36,000 pages per hour per workstation. Destructive scanning is 20 to 30 times faster, 25 times cheaper in hardware capital, and slashes the digitization cost from $75 per book down to less than $3. For an AI lab racing to ingest trillions of tokens, the economic incentive to destroy the book is overwhelming. 545 to 720 ACT 4, the model collapse nightmare. Why the web is poisoned. This brings us to the critical cognitive bridge. Why are AI labs suddenly so desperate for physical books when there are petabytes of digital text freely available on the internet? The answer is a mathematical catastrophe known as model collapse. In July 2024, a landmark paper published in Nature by lead researcher Ilya Shumilov and teams from Oxford, Cambridge, and Imperial College proved that when large language models are trained on recursively generated synthetic data, they suffer irreversible distribution decay. Over successive generations of training on AI-generated web text, the tails of probability distributions vanish, subtle reasoning nuances disappear, and the models degenerate into repetitive, delusional gibberish. Following the explosion of ChatGPT in late 2022, the open internet was flooded with billions of auto-generated SEO spam articles, automated social media bots, and synthetic junk. According to Epic AI's landmark study, will we run out of data? The global stock of high-quality, human-generated public text will be completely exhausted between 2026 and 2028. Pre-2022 physical books represent the ultimate uncontaminated gold standard of human intelligence. A physical book published before 2022 underwent professional human writing, rigorous developmental editing, structural fact-checking, and contains long-range coherent logical arguments spanning 300 uninterrupted pages. In an internet poisoned by synthetic AI slop, physical books are the pristine crude oil of the intelligence age. 720 to 845 ACT 5. The $1.5 billion legal loophole. First-Sale versus Piracy. If AI labs needed books so badly, why didn't they simply download digital scans from pirated shadow libraries like Library Genesis, Sci-Hub, or the infamous Books 3 dataset? Because doing so proved to be a multi-billion-dollar legal death trap. In Bartz versus Anthropic, court records revealed that Anthropic had trained earlier models on pirated digital copies from Books 3. In September 2025, faced with catastrophic statutory copyright damages, Anthropic agreed to a historic $1.5 billion class action settlement, paying authors roughly $3,000 per infringed title. However, during that exact same litigation, federal Judge William Alsup issued a monumental ruling that established a bizarre double standard in American copyright law. Judge Alsup ruled that while downloading pirated digital files was illegal infringement, purchasing legitimate physical copies of books and digitizing them to train neural network weights is protected under transformative fair use and the First-Sale Doctrine codified in Section 109 of the U.S. Copyright Act. Under Section 109, once you legally purchase a physical copy of a book, you own that physical object. You have the lawful right to read it, annotate it, slice its spine off, scan the pages in a private memory, and throw the paper in the trash. This created a perverse legal reality. If an AI company downloads a pirated digital copy of your book, they owe you $3,000 in statutory damages. But if they buy your physical book for $15, decapitate its spine with an industrial blade, digitize it into their commercial model, and pulp the paper, it is 100% legal. 845 to 1015 ACT 6. The modern Alexandria calamity and the top 1% action plan, this industrial destruction, is creating an unprecedented cultural calamity. Unlike bestseller novels that are printed in millions of copies, thousands of 20th century historical monographs, regional records, out-of-print academic treaties, and specialized engineering manuals exist in fewer than a few hundred surviving physical copies worldwide. When AI data brokers purchase used inventories from independent booksellers and university liquidations to feed industrial scanners, those physical copies are permanently erased from the physical universe. Consider the profound historical irony. When a nonprofit internet archive scanned physical books to lend one digital copy at a time to rural students and disabled readers, major publishing conglomerates sued them into oblivion. But when multi-billion-dollar AI conglomerates purchase those same books, destroy them in hydraulic cutters, and lock their distilled reasoning behind $20 a month closed proprietary API subscriptions, the legal system protects them. We are witnessing the privatization and physical destruction of human civilization's collective memory. 1015 to 1115, strategic verdict, and how TO protect your data. So what is the strategic takeaway? And what must the top 1% of practitioners, researchers, and creators do right now? First, recognize the provenance crisis. As synthetic slop consumes the public web, the value of verified pre-2022 human datasets and local physical literature is skyrocketing. If you maintain proprietary archives, technical manuals, or specialized domain documentation, safeguard them in local offline repositories with cryptographic timestamps. Second, do not rely exclusively on centralized closed-source cloud models whose underlying pre-training datasets are opaque and privately hoarded. Support open weights architectures, decentralized archival initiatives, and verifiable provenance protocols. The battle for artificial general intelligence is no longer being fought just in clean rooms with NVIDIA H100 GPUs. It is being fought in industrial warehouses with hydraulic steel blades. Make sure to hit subscribe, share this investigation with anyone who cares about the future of human knowledge, and let us know in the comments. Should AI companies be legally banned from destructively scanning physical books? We'll see you in the next breakdown.